It's recording. All right, I'm going to call the meeting to order. Northwood School Board, May 17th. Do we have bills and manifests?
Yes.
They are not going around yet. Let's make that start happening.
They are right now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll start off with a roll call. Keith McGuigan here. Shane Wells is not here. He may or may not make it. He got stuck at work.
He did a jam.
Amy Hanovan.
Here.
Brian Winslow.
Here.
All right, and we'll go around the table this way. Just name and start with you, Suzanne.
Suzanne Bush, and I'm the board secretary.
Good thing you don't need to talk much tonight.
Bob Godomsky, Superintendent.
Marjorie Whitmore, Business Administrator.
Jocelyn Young, Principal.
Adrian Allport, Assistant Principal.
Thank you, guys. First thing on our agenda is to adjust the agenda if we have any adjustments to be made. I know we had hoped to talk to both the food services company and the solar panel stuff. I don't see anyone here.
The solar panel presentation is scheduled for the next meeting.
Okay.
And the food service presentation, we are still trying to get information if they were doing that survey and
Yep.
seeing if they've
I've
got
emailed
that.
them.
So
Okay.
hopefully we can get
So they
them
can come.
either next meeting or the second June
Okay.
meeting, one or the other.
Okay. And we don't have any need for a non-public session to begin?
Not in the beginning, no.
All right, so unless there's anyone else has any issues with the agenda, we'll move on to opening public comment. Anybody like to take this opportunity? Ms. Dow.
Break you by it.
Good evening. I would just like to possibly ask the board's approval to request some monies to help us with the retirement of the retirees that are leaving. We have 3 individuals retiring. Also, we have an end of the year celebration. We'd like to do it off school grounds. A few years back, we did one at the Governor's Inn. We're looking into that option. We're also looking into an option in Epping, just looking for a venue. Noticing like the costs of the venues and the places, we would like to ask if the board would make a donation towards that, whether it's for gifts or going out to dinner for the end of the year. We're asking if you can, maximum $500 or somewhere in that range to help out with that cost. So if you would think about it, it'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thanks. Is there anyone else who would like to take this opportunity to address the board? Seeing none, any board members want to take this time? Comment? No? All right, we will close the public comment session then. Our first order of business is our school board vacancy discussion. So our deadline for having people write letters for interest in filling in the open board position was yesterday at 4 o'clock. We've had 1 letter, so we've only had 1 person express interest, and I can see he's here tonight. So I think I'd like to take this opportunity to see if anybody has any questions for him or stuff like that, or we can go right ahead with an appointment. I did talk to Mr. Wells offline, and he's okay with us moving forward with this without him being here. So, did you want to introduce yourself or say a few things that you've been up to, or?
So Dave Ruth, Route 4, Northwood. I had been on the school board before for about 8 to 10 years. When I sent my letter in, I noticed a vacancy. I said I'd like to be able to come in and I'd be able to hit the ground running, having a lot of experience, although it's more like I'll probably be shuffling instead of running now. So, and I bring just what I always did, is just to be fair, be objective. Sometimes you have to vote what you really think is best for the kids, and sometimes you have to vote what's really best for the town, and so just the way I've always been. So I will come in, be objective, and I think that I won't have a big learning curve, which in the past that's usually a problem. So that's all. Well, I kind of know everybody, I guess, anyway.
You guys have any questions for him?
I don't. I work with them on the
Tough ones for me?
No.
Worked with Dave on the budget committee, so.
Oh, that's right, you guys were on the budget committee, I forgot about that, so, yeah.
Very
Well,
familiar.
thank you for stepping up, I appreciate it.
Do we make a nomination?
We can make a
I'd like to
motion for an
nominate
appointment.
Dave Ruth to fill the vacant spot on the school board.
Okay, I'd like to be clear, this is going to be through March 2018. That was when the term will expire. And then hopefully he'll run for reelection.
Second?
Sure. What's up? 19th, is that what I said? Yep, sorry. All right, any discussion on this? All in favor? Welcome to the board, Mr. Ruth. You do need to be sworn in first, so once that gets done, we have seats waiting for you. I think our school district clerk is on her way here. She might be here in about half an hour again or so. If we're, I have a feeling this meeting's gonna go quick, but if we're still in session at that time, we can maybe get you sworn in and you can sit down and take part. So, thank you. Look forward to working with you. All right, approval of school board minutes. We have minutes in our packet starting on page 4. We need a motion to accept the minutes.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from May 3rd.
I'll second that.
Any discussion or corrections?
I know Becky Roll's name is spelled wrong.
Yep, I was gonna point that out too on page 24. It's Becky Rule, R-U-L-E.
Page 24.
It looks fancier
Oh,
this
page
way, though.
4?
No, I'm sorry, line, it's on page 4,
Oh,
line 24.
yes, line 24.
Okay, yes.
I did notice one other thing.
Fancy.
I didn't notice anything.
Oh, Revision, is Revision the solar company?
Yes.
Okay, that's how, all right, that's how it's spelled. That's the only thing I noticed when I was looking through there.
What was it?
This is fine, actually. I just wasn't sure. You guys have anything else? No? All right, all in favor of approving the minutes as amended? So motion carries 3-0. We do not have any non-public, or non-public were just included in this, I assume? Yeah, they're just included in this at the end. That's fine.
Oh, I should have done
I think it's okay. Okay, we'll move on to our business administrator's report.
Hi.
She's trying to sneak away.
My report begins on page 12. You'll see that you have the revenue report, the expenditure report, your March monthly bank account summary report, and your unexpended funds discussion. So nothing has changed in regards to your revenues. We're still expecting to receive everything that you see there, as well as we've already received that unanticipated revenue, and we'll be having a discussion at the joint board on Monday night because there was a question at the last meeting about unanticipated revenue, so I have information to bring back to that meeting.
Okay.
Going into the expenditures, nothing big has really changed except for, I was able to release some money from the Co-Brown lines. I asked them if they could give me an updated enrollment where we are as of right now, so I could kind of figure out if we can release some more funds or if we're going to need more funds to go into those lines. So they sent me that and I reconciled it, so we were able to release, I want to say, $90,000 for that.
No, good.
Okay.
That's just due to students, less numbers of students?
Yeah.
For tuition.
Which, if you'll remember, that was, we had the complete opposite effect last year. We had 16 students move into district last summer, so we were $250,000 short in the Co-Brown lines last year. So other than that, page 14, your health insurance, that's where you're seeing a significant savings of about $50,000. Regular education elementary is seeing about a total savings of $63,000 within all those lines. Special education elementary, that is a savings of $235,000, but you'll see expenses offsetting that in the high school lines.
So where Where did we see that, reduction in the high school tuition?
So if you look at your page 26, and it's your Co-Brown line. I believe that was fully encumbered before, and right now you have $128,000 left in that line.
Second from the top.
Yep.
Okay, so it moved from being encumbered to.
Right.
anticipated
I
balance,
ju-
basically.
right.
Okay.
So I just changed the purchase order. I just did change order and said, okay, this is what I'm expecting to pay.
Mhm.
But you will see that you're below that under the special ed section, that you're about $30,000 over on that line. So there were more special education costs associated this year.
Yes, well, I mean, we're over by 137,000 in special education high school.
Right,
All told,
and
right?
that's when I said back on elementary,
We're over.
Yeah.
you have 235
Yeah, okay.
unexpended there, and then
Yep.
those are offsetting those costs. I think what ended up happening was during the budgeting process, there was an 8th grade student that was moving on to high school. I believe it was, from what I understand from speaking with special education, is that they budgeted that student under elementary, not thinking that they were moving up to high school as a freshman from the 8th to the 9th. So that's where that comes from.
So it was a budgeting mistake on our side
Right.
last year.
Still budgeted for, just in the incorrect lines because we started breaking out the high school piece of it.
Mhm.
So. And then on page 28 is that bank account reconciliation summary report. I emailed all the backup to you all with that on April 25th. And then I just updated your unexpended funds page on page 29 and 30. I asked Jocelyn to hold off on all of the purchase orders that were approved at the last meeting, so I could get them in one packet to be able to compare them to this. So we ended up getting that this week, so I'll be able to, work more closely with this and make sure that everything's been purchased as we get down to the end of the year. And then on that list, you have your replacement of equipment technology. Would you like to get into your bid discussion?
Separate from your packet, I handed out the bids for the technology. So you can see all of the bids that came through. Also separately, we handed out a bid summary sheet. It looks like this. Mr. Robert went through all of the bids along with Jocelyn and Adrian, and you can see that the highlights on the bid summary sheet are the recommendations for purchase.
We got 5 bids. Is that right?
There are 5 bids, but there are some bits and pieces. Some companies didn't bid on certain things.
Right.
That's why we've got 2 separate recommendations.
No, will SHI honor that bid, even though we're not buying the whiteboards through them, you think?
Yes, sir.
They will? Okay. Do you have any idea, Mr. Robert, I guess I'll ask you why the bids are so different for the whiteboards from CSS and HSI?
Different products. They're different products. Interactive whiteboards come in a lot of different flavors. So I got a couple different types of bids, and only one of those bids actually came with installation, and that was the one we picked. So the installation raises it up a little bit, and then the other ones are from companies that don't really specialize in that,
we only got one company that really responded that does this as a primary part of their job. So it counts the labor and it counts everything. In fact, the one you see back you is from that company, which are most of the ones in the building. It's a little higher, but since everything's included, and they work very well. So that's why.
Thanks.
Makes sense.
So this is basically on budget for most of things.
Yeah, you can see down the bottom, for these particular lines, you come out $166 over budget, but you still have other monies within your technology line, so, that's negligible.
Okay.
So we'd be looking for us to decide this tonight?
Yes, because we're in the process of, we'd like to get the purchasing done, and obviously we had talked about freeing up money for SRO next year, and this is one step to do that.
Okay.
What would you guys like to do?
I'll make a nomination to approve the bids as recommended.
Second.
Any discussion on these?
Thanks for working it out.
Yeah.
All in favor? Aye, motion carries 3-0.
I want to thank Steve and Building Administration for their legwork on this. They did and Linda Osborne for turning over the RFP so quickly. It's, this time of year is a challenge to get things out and back in quickly, and they did a great job.
Can I have a copy of that?
You get these?
I also do want to mention that Northwood is a payroll week next week, so we'll be looking for signatures.
Oh, okay.
Because obviously I can't bring it here. If I could have it done on Monday, I would, but I don't see that happening only because Nottingham, their payday is on Thursday, so we have to have theirs done first to be able to submit the direct deposit paperwork to the bank. So you will be hearing from us, but I do have good news on that. June, it will be falling within our cycle again, so you won't have to deal with us for about 6 months for that.
Oh, okay.
And then we'll have a 5-week cycle and it will throw us off.
Perfect.
As happens. Well, this is a five-week month.
Right, which is
This
why
month.
it's falling back in place
Yeah.
in June.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you have anything else for us? That it?
I don't think so. Any questions?
No.
Okay. I'm glad that Dave Ruth is going to be back on the board. I don't think the budget committee is going to be very happy, but.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Do we need Marjorie for anything else?
I don't see anything on here. See anything why we might need her? Well, we may end up, just to let you know, we may end up rescheduling some meetings or something like that later, but I don't think that should affect you anyway, so.
Sure.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
As soon as I find out from Fresh Picks Cafe Services, I'll make sure you guys know.
Great. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. We'll move on to our principals report.
Good evening. Our report begins on page 31, and Adrian is going to start us off tonight.
Good evening, everybody. I will be starting off. So, Artist in Residence. So, Artist in Residence has come to an end. It was amazing. James Chase was phenomenal with the kids. You could hear a pin drop in there because they were so engaged in what they were doing, and it looks amazing. The picture doesn't do it justice, obviously. You gotta really put your imagination, but there's vivid colors in there, I swear to you. Dave, I swear, vivid colors in there. But the kids loved it. They ate it up. It was quiet. They're all engaged and all working very well together. It was awesome. It was just really great to see. He's putting it together right now. Mrs. Lagasse did a fantastic job, orchestrating this all and setting it up for them. So kudos to her. She did a great job with them. I'm really excited to see what the final product is because it blew my mind. It really blew my mind how well everybody was working together and how engaged they were in it. So hold on to your hats because this is going to look pretty cool.
Where's it going again? In the stairs over?
Up the stairwell, right?
It's a secret.
It's also, it's movable, right? So-
It is movable, so James thought about that, he's putting it on like little hooks in the back, so we can, if we so choose, to move it around. We're gonna put it at top of the stairs at 7-8. So, kind of meander around from there.
I don't know if you can go first anymore, because now I'm going to have a hard time keeping a straight face.
Signing off.
Just wanted to bring to the board's attention our PTA that does a lot for our school in terms of providing events and grant funding for field trips and things like that.
And jelly.
Yes, and delicious jelly.
Yes.
You do the PTA for that, by the way.
The membership right now consists mostly of parents of older kids, including a fair number of 8th graders. So we are looking at a much reduced PTA membership next year. So I've been working with Mary Belger and Sarah Leliotis to try to get the word out to encourage some parents of younger students to get involved now so that they kind of understand how things work and get excited. But I just wanted to bring that to the board's attention. If you guys have networking or public relations type stuff that you can do to get the word out, I think that would be helpful as well. They are concerned that they will have to dismantle the PTA, which would then negate all of the great stuff that happens, and my understanding is that getting a PTA back up and going is challenging. So we'd like to avoid that happening if at all possible.
So you're saying that there's only 8th grade parents on there? Like,
Mostly.
and there's not enough?
Yeah.
If nothing increases next year, there won't be enough to continue it? Okay.
And both unions have talked about it with us, and they're also doing what they can to increase teacher participation on it. The PTA this year had moved meetings to Friday nights along with the movie nights in the hopes of getting more parents in. That's a hard time of day and night for staff to be there, so we've bounced around ideas of like alternating meetings, so having some on Friday nights and some on Tuesday afternoons or whatever, so that we can try to hit different groups of people and get wider participation. So just wanted to put that out there as something that we'll all want to pay attention to.
Are the meetings monthly or just once a month?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Are you going to put that in the Laker as well?
Yes, so Sarah and Mary are working on crafting up a blurb to get in there. On a happier note, we had Teacher Appreciation Week last week. The board's funds provided breakfast on Monday and desserts on Thursday, and those were well received and enjoyed by staff, and everybody extends a warm thank you to you. And then Adrian and I had some fun shopping and bought Northwood school customized mugs and notebooks and packs of sticky notes and chapstick. And then I think the biggest hit of the week was we gave staff candy and allowed them to wear jeans on an extra day, and that's always a big hit. So, those are just small tokens, but we really want to say that we appreciate our staff. And, just as an indication of how kind and generous our staff is, we've received a bunch of thank you notes for the things that we got them to say thank you to them. So, and then we say thank you for the thank you note. So it just goes on. And then in terms of volunteer appreciation, we are thinking about how best to show our appreciation for our volunteers. And we'll do that later in the spring because we've already missed Volunteer Appreciation Day. So we'll figure out our own Northwood School Volunteer Appreciation Day. The statewide testing, what used to be called Smarter Balanced, is now the New Hampshire statewide assessment, and we are in full swing with testing in grades 3 through 8. So just a reminder, students test in reading, writing, math, and then in grades 5 and 8, they also test in science. Teachers report that students are working hard. We've provided some snacks and gum and mints to help kids sort of stay energized and focused. Teachers have been providing some incentives for doing their best and showing good effort, such as like an extra recess when testing is complete. And kids in general are working hard. We're starting to see early results, but not enough yet to really be able to draw any conclusions. And I want to thank Mr. Robert, who already left, because he is at one end of this building running to the other, trying to help with troubleshoot and coordination and support everybody. So that's off to a good start, and we'll wrap up in the next couple weeks. And then just the standing item on the list this week, or lately, is the list of important spring dates. We did have a field day scheduled for June 15th. We've just changed that today to the 18th because preschool graduation is happening that day, so we're now planning on June 18th. And then one thing that's not in the report, but that is very exciting, is that Mr. Tom is back. He came back to work part-time on Monday this week, and it's been great because this is a very busy time of year, and so he's back just in time to help us take care of things like repairing the front steps and replacing the expansion tanks and getting new lockers and getting the building shipshape for summer school. So we are happy to have him back.
It was a hero's welcome for him, let me tell you that.
Yeah, he walked into the K-2 lunch and the kids spontaneously started clapping when they saw him. So everybody was happy to see Tom back. So that is what we have for you tonight. Any questions? Or?
Sorry, what date did field day get changed to?
The 18th.
18th, okay. So I didn't know you didn't ask for it in your report, but this might be a good time for us to consider Ms. Dow's request for funds for the retirement party that they're having. I don't know what you guys think about that. I mean, I think we have given money to retirement parties in the past.
Okay.
I don't remember how much. And I'm not sure exactly what the 500 is going to buy us. That's the only thing. But I think, in my experience having these retirement, we talk about, you know, trying to improve culture and climate of the school and end of the year celebration with the staff to get together. It's, you know, at least from my experience with my wife, it's very good for them and it can help foster teamwork. So I'd be in favor of definitely doing something for them along that way to help push that forward.
Yeah, I agree.
So, anybody want to make a motion for that?
I'll make a motion to approve Lauren Dow's request of $500 from the school board to support retirement celebration activities.
And end of year activities, yeah.
And end of the year activities.
Second. All right. Is there any further discussion on this? All in favor? Motion carries 3-0. Thank you.
I would ask Lauren if you could give Marjorie a call just to set up the details on how we're going to process that.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Do we have any other questions for our principal? Quiet night.
Actually,
Maybe not.
sorry, I'll be quick. I know there's like a window for the testing. You said it's like a few more weeks. When having never been on a board before, we will probably have some discussion after the window of testing scores and how people did and whatnot.
Generally, it takes a little while, so the initial results are preliminary.
Okay.
And it's actually interesting because the test is brand new, and the cut scores, what determines distinguished versus proficient versus approaching,
Right.
are being determined later. So we're getting results already.
We won't know where.
But we won't know if, those might very well change after they determine cut scores in July. So yes, certainly after the final results are released, we will provide a presentation.
Awesome, thanks.
Anything else? All right. Thank you. We'll move on to our enrollment report.
You can see your monthly enrollment starting on page, excuse me, 33, 34, 35. Not really a lot to report. Any questions?
And maybe a couple students. Oh, you guys good?
All set.
All right, then we'll move right to the superintendent's report then.
All right, I'll start on page 36, the personnel report. We've posted the positions as early as possible, and I know building administration has been working hard on doing initial screenings and getting people in as quickly as possible and really moving through and trying to get the best candidates possible. So I'd like to bring forward a nomination, first of all, of a Spanish teacher, Nathan Butenmuller. And you'll see that, obviously, world language of any kind is a critical shortage right now, so we're trying to move quickly, and we feel pretty strongly that Nathan will do a great job for us.
His step 4, that he's probably worked somewhere, that's why he's coming in on step 4.
Yeah, you can see his resume and experience is in here, so you
Okay.
can see that he's got some past experience, obviously, that he's bringing, so it's, this should be a
I see, yeah.
really exciting hire.
Wonderful, great.
I would move to elect Nathan Butenmueller for the position of Spanish teacher.
I will second that.
Any discussion on that? All in favor? Right.
Thank you. Next on my list is Catherine Karen, speech pathologist. Again, anytime you can get a speech pathologist, it is a wonderful day, and we feel pretty lucky to get Catherine on board as well.
I'll make a motion to elect Catherine Karen as speech pathologist.
And I will second that motion.
Any discussion on this? Is this a budgeted position as well?
Yes.
Um,
Yes, it's 70% out of the regular ed budget lines and 30% out of the special ed budget lines.
Is this replacing somebody else?
Yes.
So this was a position we were not able to fill with a direct hire this year, so we've had a contracted service provider this year.
Great.
Oh, this previous was contract, yeah, okay, all right, thank you.
As I said, anytime we can get a speech pathologist on staff is a good day.
Right. Now, you said it's 70% of special ed, 30%?
Yeah, it's in the budget, it's just under 2 lines.
Yeah. I mean, is this a need in the other districts in the SAU as well? Or is it sort of, we have a full-time need for this?
We do have a full-time need for this, so.
Okay, so it's not like someone we could share amongst the...
I think that we are okay in the other districts right now, but I appreciate the offer to look at that. We'll keep that in mind. I'll let Mr. Runing know.
Okay. All right, any other questions, discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
And the rest of the list here is for summer ESY. Title, you'll see, I'll go down them really quickly. Rich Levergood, Title I summer teacher. Carol Foley, Title I summer teacher. Laura Harwood, Title I summer teacher. Jessica Carloni, Title I summer reading specialist. Elizabeth Moore, middle school summer school teacher. Mary Lou Hendrick, ESY summer paraprofessional. Carol Summers, Title I summer paraprofessional. Samantha Haverman Payne, ESY summer paraprofessional. Sorry, I missed that on the bottom of that page. Chris Lanik as Title I summer paraprofessional. Michelle Elifat, ESY summer teacher. Jody Labrie, ESY summer teacher. Bob Payne, ESY summer teacher. Faye, I'm sorry, I don't know. Osella, ESY summer NEC tutor. Penny Hempel, ESY summer NEC tutor. Aaron McAllister, ESY summer NEC tutor. On that one, it's going to be a slight change. That one's going to be 7 hours instead of 6 hours because there's some responsibility of riding on the bus. Sherry Anthony, ESY summer NEC tutor. Again, that's going to be 7 hours instead of 6 for the same reason. And Yvette LeBlanc, ESY summer NEC tutor.
Move to elect all of these positions on the bank.
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion?
Are we, I think at the last meeting or at a previous meeting, we were talking about trying to fill all the positions. Is this a complete list?
We are done.
Awesome, thank you, well done.
Okay, any
Well, we
further?
should make it clear, well, she got the amendment to those 2 hours. So
Yep.
6 or 7, so.
Great. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you. The other 2 things I handed out under separate cover, they're not in your packet. We have 2 letters of resignation. The first is Mary Gagney, is a letter of notification of retirement at the end of the current year.
Are we looking to accept her retirement?
Yes.
I will move to accept her retirement with regret.
I will second.
Any discussion on this? All in favor?
Thank you. And the other is your nurse, Beth Benham, who is also putting in her resignation at the end of the year.
I will make a motion to accept that resignation with regret as well.
And I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye. Yeah, that's too bad. Finding a nurse is not going to be easy, I don't think, right?
We're in process.
Yeah.
We try to get these posted as quickly as possible, and we'll see. And that's all I have for tonight. I see Penny's here.
Yep. So do we have any further questions for the superintendent at this time?
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thanks.
With our school district clerk here, we do have the opportunity to swear in our new member and get him on seated at this meeting. If the board is up for that, I would say let's do it. You up for that, Mr. Ruth? Can't turn back after you do this.
Get it before he runs.
Who's that lady?
That's Penny Hempel. Penny Hempel, she says school district clerk.
Don't say I do again.
There you go, welcome aboard. Welcome back. You get some jelly too, right? I get some jelly.
Right, we're all ready.
Yeah, right. That's not for me. It's
Gotta
from the
do better
PTA.
than that.
Well, welcome back, Mr. Ruth.
Thank you, it's good to be back. Can we go back to number one on the agenda?
Right now. We're closing public comment, you can talk then. All right, new business. We do have some information about consent agendas. I'm not sure who dug that up for us, but thank you, whoever did that. I don't know if you guys got a chance to read this over. Again, the basic idea of the consent agenda is, things that are, don't really need discussion, that get voted in pretty much implicitly every time. I don't know if that makes sense for us to do, actually. I don't know, it's just something I just wanted to explore, looking into it. And looking at our agenda right now, we do go through things pretty quick. We don't get bogged down on some of these things. And the only thing I could think of putting on there would be maybe the minutes or some of the, maybe some of the nominations, but I think it's probably good to have an opportunity to have discussion on those at times. So, I wanted this brought forward, and I appreciate it getting put in the packet and the research being done on it. I'm not so sure we have enough in our meeting agendas to require this. I mean, what do you see going on the consent agendas on the other meetings that you go to? Sorry to make you talk, but.
No, a lot of, standard, like donations that might come in. Those,
Right, things where you're gonna accept a donation.
Because you're gonna accept it.
Right.
You're not gonna not accept a donation for whatever purpose, or, a lot of those you do, like if monies come in for donations, they don't require.
Yeah.
And then you just vote on the consent agenda, if there's 2 or 3 or.
Right, and you can take things off the consent agenda, of
And
course,
then,
too,
yeah.
if you don't wanna.
Yes,
if you wanna discuss
any
it.
board member can take it off if they want to discuss it a little more thoroughly.
Yeah.
But generally, those other things, and some of the consent agendas can be lengthy.
Yeah.
I don't know, the business.
Depending on the meeting and stuff. Yeah.
Well, and if you look at the House of Representatives, for instance, or the Senate, those are pages long of consent agendas, you know, for bills and, so, you know, if you've got 50 items, then they'll take off one or two, but
Right.
you're saving a lot of time. I work for towns, and towns might have a few more items sometimes that, and as I was telling Keith, you know, one of the members always wants to take things off. So, you know, there is that ability if you do choose to.
I don't know what you guys,
I think
feel
it
about
sounds like worth trying, like with the minutes, and then donations and anything else that might come up. I don't know that it's gonna, we tend to be pretty quick, I think, as it is, so, but we can give it a try.
Maybe it would help, like, I don't know, some budget season, the meetings run pretty long.
that's true, some of them do, yeah, these ones nowadays aren't doing it, but, yeah.
So it could help maybe.
I think we've used things like this in the past, like for the policies, sometimes you get 8 or 10 policies, and you can say, okay, let's approve all at once.
Yeah, and that's basically what this is, it's
All
just
this
having.
is, right.
Yeah.
So, all right, so you guys want to try putting this on our agenda as a regular item, then, the consent agenda, we'll put it in the beginning. You know, and then we'll put whatever is on it that makes sense to be put on there, and then we can try that, see if it works for us. If not, we can get rid of it.
Sounds good.
That sound good, everybody? All right.
We can do that.
Okay. So probably any donations, obviously, and things like that, we should, you know, we can probably get that on the agenda soonish.
Yeah, we can do donations, we can do things like fundraiser approvals.
Yep.
We can put those on. We'll put the minutes on. Remember, if we put the minutes on, if you have any questions or concerns about the minutes,
take it
just let us know beforehand, and we can address those,
Like
or
a-
you can take it off,
Yep.
so.
Like a spelling error of a name.
Well, any spelling errors and things, if you can let us know, we can just fix those
Yeah,
anyway,
so
but,
if people want to let me know directly, I can correct them, and then
yeah,
at the meeting, you would have a correct,
yep.
just, it would be standard
Right.
approval.
So we can certainly try it, and if
Yeah.
anything else comes up, you know, we'll try it, and if you want to take something off, you can do that.
I think maybe the informational stipend things we could put on
Okay.
there as
Yep.
well.
That's another
right?
one. yeah.
Yep,
That's, we're not voting on those anyway, so.
Sure.
It's more of just a report.
sure.
All right, give that a shot. All right, committee reports. We do have a couple, we do have a technology committee meeting today. We're going over, I really like what we're doing there, is we're putting together a spreadsheet that lists all of the pieces of software that are used in the school, what they apply to, what grades use them, when they have to be renewed, or if they're free or whatnot, and tracking the usage, like how much are they actually being used, and the cost. So I think we're putting together a nice tool there that will enable us to kind of look forward, you know, look at our software and say which ones does it make sense to keep going on and which ones don't. Other than that, we got a report from Mr. Robert about testing mostly, you know, he's working on the testing stuff, but the technology seems to be going pretty well right now. There's some, well, I guess I won't get into that right now. Next meeting, I'll have something else to talk about there, but. Was there any other committees that met?
Yeah, I met with the club committee members just briefly before the meeting. I have some papers to pass out. They have a spreadsheet of the support staff clubs, as well as the it would be like the teacher clubs that are being proposed for the next school year. I'll pass these out to you guys. And if you guys would like some, I have more copies here. Oh, there you go.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Sure. Overall, both groups of clubs are down from this year for a number of reasons. Some have been run by people who are leaving or retiring. In some cases, there wasn't a lot of student buy-in or participation in a few clubs, and then in some cases, people just would rather just have the time. I guess they're just getting tired. So I did ask personally if there was any way that we could boost up club involvement, because I think that's something that I'd like to see. But I made it clear I was just speaking for myself at that point, because but I personally feel like the more opportunities for students are, the better. And I don't know what kind of we can do from here to help with that, but that was my 2 cents.
Yeah, well, I definitely agree with you there. I mean,
And for reference, there's still significant portions of the budget remaining for each club, each group of clubs, so.
do you know these student-involved numbers? Is that capacity, or is that actual number of students that are taking advantage of these clubs?
I think that's capacity. I don't think that's the actual usage, unless you know better than that.
It's capacity.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea? I mean, are we using these? I mean, are they filled to capacity? Are they? Any idea?
I don't know. Keep in mind that athletics is a big competitor to a lot of clubs. So it's not that kids aren't doing anything, it's just maybe more in the athletics department than clubs. But I do think as we absorb new staff in the fall, that we might see an uptick in teacher participation and interest, as well as paraprofessional.
Yeah.
Were these all, were these clubs basically run by teachers?
Yeah, there's 2 lists. The color one is the ones that are run by teachers. The black and white list, there's only 3 on that one. That's run by support staff.
Okay.
Are you looking for approval of these clubs? We've already approved these clubs, right?
I think they're in the budget. I think they're already approved. I
Yeah.
think it's just information. I will say, they expressed to me that, for example, the assistant to the snowshoe club is its own club line that is as needed. If there's a huge turnout, they bump that up. And so there's a few other things that could adjust like that, and hopefully just more clubs coming up in general. But there could be, more support roles too that aren't there because they weren't needed this year, so. Yeah.
Volleyball club, is that boys and girls?
I don't know.
And the second part of that is, would we be looking at having a tryout to see whether or not we would make that a school sport? Just some thought.
Okay. Keep that in mind.
With the volleyball, I know that as a paraeducator that expressed her joy for volleyball and looking to kind of spearhead that. She didn't exactly elaborate on if it would be boys and girls.
Yeah.
My assumption would be girls, but I
Mostly girls in the fall. Boys just play high school in the spring, but
I can't say for certain if she had both in mind.
the other local schools have started volleyball sports, and they got people that don't play soccer or cross country. They had actually Stratford had so many volleyball tryouts that they actually cut their soccer down to 1 team. I think it was tough, but anyway, yeah, it was just a thought. If it works out good as a club.
Yeah, because volleyball is definitely offered at Co-Brown too, so having a feeder program for that would be a good thing as well.
So do these come from ideas that the teachers come up with to do these?
My understanding is there's like a request out for, this is all the information that we'll need if you wanted to run a club, and then whatever comes back is just compiled here for us to
Okay.
be aware of. So, and it's within the budget that's already been approved. So.
And it's not only in the budget, we approve it, but it's also in the teachers' contracts too, that we're gonna spend X amount of money on clubs. So they can,
Almost 15,000.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the number I was given to. Yeah.
So it's both in the teacher and the support staff contract.
That's good.
It's just if you have to approve it in our contract though, like you have to vote on it.
Yep, yep. So you, is the clubs committee looking for a vote on this now for next year?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yep.
good to know. Thank you.
It has to be voted on for the contract.
Yep, all right, thank you.
Okay, there we go.
That's fine. Yeah, it seems early for doing it for next year, because, well, there's still room, I guess, in in the budget here for more clubs to come later, right?
Yes, and it's not too early, because that list makes a lot of paperwork for us, so the sooner we can get going on that, the better.
My hands will be
It seems too
bleeding.
early to be thinking about next year already. That's what I should say. Not that it is too early.
I'll get
Seems-
calluses from it, so the earlier the better, please.
All right, well, in that case, I will make a motion to approve this club's list as presented to us from the clubs
Question
committee.
first.
Let's get a second discussion.
Okay.
So, just, anyone want to second that? All right, go ahead. Yeah.
Just for the principal, these kind of meet the requirements that we have in the contract, where they get paid so much an hour, and there should be X amount of kids, or there's a decision that if only 2 children show up, then we probably wouldn't have a club, or there were some, just to make sure that it was the principal that, and I'm going back, so I hate to be making these meetings go long, but just so that we're keeping kind of schedule. The teachers were saying, okay, we met every day that they met and how many
Yep.
hours they were there.
Oh, yes,
So
we
you
certainly
feel comfortable
document,
that
yes.
they're meeting the minimum requirements, yeah, okay.
Yep.
Any further discussion on this before we vote on it? Are we reasonably sure that the Spanish teacher is going to be interested in doing the Spanish club?
I did not pressure him with that question right out of the gate, but I will ask.
Put him to the ringer.
Yeah, or somebody else can do it. All right, all in favor of approving these clubs?
Aye.
All right, motion carries 4-0.
Can I get a copy of those so I can give them to HR
Of course.
and payroll?
And this thing.
I've got keys. Thanks.
So while we're on our committee reports, it's probably worth bringing up that we have a new board member now, and we did assign some temporary committee assignments because our former board member was a member of 3 or 4 committees, and when she left, we had no one to fill them in, so we have some temporary assignments right now. But so first off, I'll ask you, Mr. Ruth, if you'd be interested in doing the following ones as part of your term, and/or we can mix and match and switch them up if we want to at this point. She was on the policy committee, the calendar committee, and the teachers negotiation team.
Yep.
Are those things you would be interested in doing, or would you, or is there other committees you would be interested in and maybe switch with somebody else? Sorry to throw this on you.
Those two are fine. Is there a contract coming up?
There isn't this year, but it's just if something comes up, you know, yeah.
Yep. Policy, teach, was there something else?
Policy, teacher negotiation team, and calendar committee.
And what?
Calendar committee,
Oh, school calendar.
school calendar, yes, yeah.
Those are fine.
I'm a little worried about putting you on the calendar committee, but given your history. Okay.
180 days is too long.
All right, so we'll assign,
Well, go ahead, now I'll ask for even more. Well, if athletic committee or facilities committee?
so I think I'd have to look it up. I think Mr. Wells is on both
On
of
both
those.
of those, and I think he's one of 2, and we don't have a second.
Yeah, right, it could be that we had 2 in athletic committee before, and I think we're both facilities and athletic.
I think so.
I mean, we can have 2, so,
Okay.
let me just look it up real quick and see what. There's no internet connection, I guess I'm not looking at it.
Facilities committee is just Shane right now.
I would love to have a second person on the facilities committee if you're interested in that.
Yeah, because these other, like you said, there'll be no teaching negotiation this year, so I'll have time to at least finish out till we get, so, yeah.
What was
Okay.
the other one, Dave?
Facilities?
Athletic? The
and
athletic
then-
committee is 1 member and Shane's on it.
Yeah, I'd volunteer for that again.
You want to do athletic and facilities, and policy and calendar?
Yeah, well, the policy is gonna be, it seems like every week almost, but then the
Yeah.
teachers' negotiations, not much, and the calendar is really just,
Yeah, it's gonna be once or
That's
twice,
fine.
it's not too bad, yeah. All right, I will make a nomination to assign Mr. Ruth to the policy committee, the calendar committee, the athletic committee, facilities committee, and the teacher negotiation team.
Does that mean you're taking Shane off the athletic committee?
No, we'll add him, so there'll be 2
Okay.
to the athletics committee, which there was in the past, I remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can sub for me on the budget committee every now and then.
No, we can't do that.
You don't want me on that one.
Is there a second for that?
I'll second that, sorry.
Any discussion on that?
Thank you, Mr. Reed.
Yeah, thanks for stepping up to do that. Calendar committees are a lot of work sometimes. All right, all in favor of that? Motion carries 4-0. You can abstain if you want.
I'll agree.
Yeah. The other thing I want to talk about, it's not technically a committee, but one of the things that was in our goals, it's either explicitly in our goals or something we discussed when we were doing our goals, was to provide an opportunity for exit interviews for staff that's leaving. I did get in touch with a couple people. I just happened to wander across them today. And at least 2 of them would be interested in having an exit interview with the board. Something private, something constructive, just to help us move forward with, what we can do to improve things. So if the board is interested in doing that, we could either schedule it for, probably at the end of the year would be best. We could do it before a meeting or after a meeting, or just schedule a separate time for it. Is this something you guys would want to do?
I don't have a problem with it, but isn't that a function of the SAU where we have a human resources person?
Yeah, typically exit interviews, everybody that leaves any of the districts, Linda Osborne, our HR person, gives them an opportunity to come to the SAU, and she conducts an exit interview.
Yeah.
So if they did have an option of that one, and then they had a second option of meeting with school board if they thought there was something they.
Yeah, and that's the part I'm talking about. And it's not so much maybe an exit interview, but maybe just a conversation, on the way out about, what can we do to make things better, So it's not meant to be something crazy or anything. But if you guys want to go forward with that, I can work with these people and ask the ones I haven't talked to and get it scheduled for times. Is there times like, I know the last day of their contract is the 25th, so we could try after that, maybe even 2. I don't know what your availability is for the 25th, I think is a Monday. So maybe that Monday night we could do, maybe schedule a new meeting.
Have a joint board meeting.
Yeah, or just a special board meeting and just, be the 5 of us board members go into non-public and just have a conversation with some of these people that are leaving one by one. And I know one of the members said she would be willing to do it before our next meeting, the 6 o'clock or something like that. So if it's okay with you, I'll go ahead and schedule these and keep you guys apprised for when you're available. And the only reason I'm saying not to do it at the following meeting is because I don't think I'm going to be here for that one.
Okay.
So that's all. All right, and I'll reach out and talk to the other staff that are resigning or leaving and see if I can schedule with them as well. Okay. Any other committee reports? Yeah, nothing. Budget committee hasn't met?
Nope.
Okay. All right, so we'll go on to our old business. We have our parking lot items. School board newsletter. I'm going to ask someone to take notes on that, but maybe we can write up something for that if someone has any ideas. So, Mr. Ruth, with the school board newsletter, what we're trying to do is, I'd like to have something that we can put in the Laker or the Sun every once in a while to kind of say what the school board's been up to. It's something that we've been wanting to do for a long time, but we've never assigned someone to actually do it. And it's been, it's been hard to, figure it out. For me, it's always like, I always think the stuff we do is not very interesting to people, so it seems like it's hard to write something up. So this is on here to remind us that we really should be doing this, to help reach out with the community and let them know what's going on. So if you have any ideas to help us go forward with that, that'd be great. I think we have some good news we could put in there for this meeting. But, you had some good idea about that too at one point.
Yeah, school board meetings are kind of, I don't know what I'd want to say it was going to excite people reading what we're doing here, but what these 2 young people do on a daily basis. And if they're writing something, or one of you either take turns or you both write a little something for the newsletter, then maybe even that could be sent to the Suncook Valley. Not making a double work, or just be.
Are you putting your newsletter on us?
No, I'm saying.
Welcome, Mr. Ruth, to the board.
We'd be happy to.
Well, I just said, not, you're already doing something, right? You probably all put something in the newsletter. And it's good news because you're here all the time, so if that, whatever you put in that newsletter,
I mean, the other thing to consider is we do have, you know, a reporter sitting here making notes
Yeah.
and writing articles for the forum, so that stuff does get out there.
that's good too. I get that.
So I don't know, I'm always stressed about it, but maybe we're okay.
I don't mind doing it if I, like, feel, once I learn a little more. But I mean, just trying to convey what happened tonight, I guess, just be like,
Yeah.
but I mean, just like a little,
Little blurb to put in the
Blurb?
Laker or something.
Yeah.
you know.
Well, I noticed in the past, even you guys, especially, I think, were putting in the letters and Bob, or when we had it at the beginning of last year,
Yeah.
about the buses, I mean, you were keeping.
Yeah,
people
right,
informed.
back when there was
Those type of
things
things, are
happening.
definitely,
Yeah.
on a moment's notice, we should have you write something up.
Yeah.
Dave, you're bringing up the buses again?
He's very
But
good
yeah,
at
things like that are, for the town, if we're doing something or discussing, then definitely we should probably want to inform the town, but a meeting like tonight where, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
We have a new board member, that's wicked exciting.
Yeah, well, that might be worth writing. I could write up
Should probably tweet
something,
that out. That new-
announcement of a new board member at least, right, for that.
I
So that'd be
think
something.
board.
After a worldwide search, one
Right,
person in town.
Considering we did put the request out in the sun a couple times, so,
Well, in 2 weeks, we're gonna have a presentation from Revision Energy. I think a lot of people are gonna be interested in that, you know, so I think it's worth trying to get it going.
also, just maybe directing people to where they could find, I know maybe some people just aren't paying attention, but the minutes are available, the schedule is available. It's just kind of like pointing people toward where they can find information. Sometimes they don't know where to look.
I think it would go a long way, too, of recognition of staff, if the board, you know, you get a lot of information from your building administration coming to you. I think it goes a long way when the board recognizes the retirees and, you know, other people that have done a wonderful job. I think that would be a nice piece, too.
so how do we want to go forward with this? Do we want to have somebody, maybe me, write up a little thing and then bring it to our next meeting? And, I mean, by then it might be too late for the solar panel stuff, though. And get it approved by the board, and then we can send it in and include it in things, or write it here and now. I mean, it just doesn't seem like a good use of board time, but,
I mean, could you do an individual email so we're not at risk of having a meeting, but just.
I think what I would recommend is, if you'd like to do this to keep it in a timely manner, just charge somebody with the responsibility of doing that, with the understanding that it's going to be straightforward factual information. Like, I don't think there's anything controversial about saying you're going to do a solar presentation, or recognizing retirees, or announcing a new board member. I mean, that's pretty straightforward stuff. If there's, and you could always charge somebody that, you know, somebody on the board, if you're willing to volunteer to do that, that would be their responsibility. And if there's ever something that the board doesn't agree with, then you can take that responsibility away. But if you're looking at a timely, I mean, you're right, by the time you write it, it's gonna be old news.
right. That's always what the challenge has been from my point of view. So would someone like to volunteer to do that? I'd be okay with authorizing somebody.
I don't mind doing it, but
That sounds like volunteering to me.
sure.
All right, so why don't we do this, then why don't we make a motion that Ms. Hanovan will write up a small blurb to be submitted to the Sunk Creek Valley Sun, and perhaps sent to Ms. Young for inclusion in the Laker, provided it is factual, objective,
Positive, generally.
positive, yeah.
Not that I'm worried. Just saying.
So moved.
You know me.
All right, I'll second that. Any discussion on that? Like, I don't think we need to do that for every meeting, but maybe monthly,
Monthly.
perhaps?
I can handle
Would be,
that.
would be my thought, or? All right.
Okay.
Thank you for stepping up to do this, because this has been on our list for a long time without anything being done about it. But- All right, all in favor of doing that? So you have authorization from from here on out to be doing that until you mess up, and then we'll take it away.
Sounds good. Then it's your job.
Don't do that.
Okay, solar panels, they are on schedule for next meeting?
Mr.
or-
Runing has told me that they're scheduled for the first June meeting, which would be your,
First June meeting, yep.
and the Fresh Picks, Marjorie has been in touch with them. I don't know whether we'll be able to get them here the first June meeting or the second June meeting, but we're trying for one of those for a presentation.
Okay. Tractor, we'll wait on that for the budget discussion. School safety, I think we don't have any progress on that, right?
Well,
Our-
the safety and security, a couple of things are happening. There's,
Okay.
at the admin retreat this summer, they're going to focus on having Homeland Security come and do some exercises with our school building administration in each of our districts to kind of review the safety procedures and the physical plan. I've got a meeting with an engineer next, I don't remember when I'm meeting him, Tuesday, I think, from Henniker. He's going to stop by here at the school. And I told him I just want to pick his brain and see what it would cost for some kind of an engineering study for the office. I tried to be straightforward with him and let him know that I don't want to mislead him, because if it's going to be $5,000, $6,000, $8,000, $10,000, then we need an RFP to do that. But I asked him if he's willing to come by and let me pick his brain and kind of give me a little guidance on how to proceed with that, and he was willing to do that. So as soon as I meet with him, I'll bring that back to the board.
So we have done some work for getting a school resource officer for your benefit. It's not going to happen this year, but we did do some pre-purchasing of stuff for next year, so to free up some money so that we'd have the funds available for funding that for next year, to have a resource officer on site. So, let you know. This is not our first monthly meeting, so we'll review our strategic plans and goals at our next meeting, which will be the first of the month. And student representative will talk about, yeah.
As far as the strategic plan, Amy, in my office, has been working diligently on formatting your strategic plan in the fold-out form that I had mentioned. She's got a wonderful layout. We're in the process of getting an example printed. And then as soon as we proof that, we're going to fly that out and let them print us 500 copies, at which point we'll have them in the office, we'll have them around town, you can give them to the budget committee. It'll be a wonderful piece. So that's in process, and hopefully we'll have that in a couple weeks.
So we have you'll bring us the plan for it, and then we'll.
Well, you've already approved at, I think it was the last meeting, I believe it was $500 or $600 for that. So we're just laying it out, and I'm working with Amy and getting all of the information that we can on that form, and then it looks great. It'll be a wonderful document to use.
Anything else that we should add to the parking lot, remove, change? Anything we want to not forget about? All right, our timeline. Being the end of May, I believe, last time we went through this timeline, we were already through all of our May stuff already. Graduation award nominations, did that?
I'm sorry to say I don't have them for you tonight, not for lack of trying.
Okay, so we're
So
just,
I will definitely have them for you at the next meeting.
the next meeting being June.
Down to the wire, yes.
Okay. Coming up in June, let's see if there's anything interesting on here. Notify support staff no later than July 1st of new assignments. On top of that, summer curriculum and work nominations, we already took care of that. We got plenty of facility renovations, some employment. Nominations for fall coaching positions and club positions. Exit interviews and start to set the bus routes again.
Yep.
They always come back around.
Luckily, this year they are.
That's a good reminder, though, for the nominations for fall coaching positions in clubs. If you could touch base with the athletic director and just,
The positions are posted, and
Yeah.
we just don't have applicants for everything yet.
okay, because some of those fall positions start very early.
Yep.
So it's good to get those done as early as possible.
Okay, any comments about the timeline? Anything we feel is missing or needs to be added, or? All right, future agenda items. Our next meeting is on the 7th, June 7th. We may have 2 presentations if we're lucky, probably at least one with solar panels, the second one being fresh picks. I have that we will review our strategic goals and plans. Maybe we'll get those printouts by then, would be cool. Is there anything on there that I forgot to write down that you did?
No, I think everything's listed on there. We've got a number of graduations and promotions and everything else going on, so busy time of year.
Okay, if anybody wants to add anything to the agenda, let me know.
Question?
Yeah.
We, I remember from in the past, as school board members, we always went to this graduation, kind of, and there was an award from a school board.
Yes, there's the,
What you were talking,
Yeah.
what you were talking about.
yeah, so she's gonna bring us the nominations for that.
CBNA, I don't know that we really had a directive to be there. Sometimes they've invited us, I don't know if they've invited you this year.
I haven't heard anything, yeah.
We-
I'm sure we would be.
When I was on the board, it was almost like every member had a child pretty much graduating, so there was always a member there, but there was no real okay, so, but this here is, this graduation is.
Yeah. All right, let me know if you want anything added to the agenda 7 days before, please, and we can get it on there. And, well, maybe we'll set our consent agenda for that and see how that looks. So future meetings, we do have a joint board meeting May 21st, which is next Monday. There's a couple Co-Brown graduations and baccalaureates. June 7th is our next regular board meeting, and then our second meeting in June is scheduled for June 21st, which coincides with the 8th grade graduation. So I don't know if that's something we may want to reschedule. That's your birthday, too?
Yeah, it's fine.
So I don't know if that's something we want to reschedule, because, I mean, I think a number of these people are going to be at graduations probably all over the place. And it'd be nice for us to attend the graduation as well, so. Would you guys be up for
We'll
it?
be at graduation, we'll be at graduation for a minimum of an hour, I would imagine, to an hour and a half, 2.
Not 2.
Yeah,
Hour and a
no,
half.
hey.
Graduation.
Whoa, pump the brakes, Dave, pump the brakes. Yeah, whoa, hey.
The cake,
Give me that jam.
the cake is really good, you might want to hang around, yeah. The juice, all right. So then we would have a meeting after.
Oh, that's another possibility, I guess. I was just thinking to reschedule it for a different
Schedule
day,
it
but
probably, yeah.
if graduation is, well, 6:30 to, I mean, say we get done at 8, starting at, meeting at 8 would be a little rough, I think.
And it's Amy's birthday.
It's not a big deal. And the same as any other day.
So we do have some possibilities. June does have 5 Thursdays, so we could schedule the next meeting, just delay it by a week and schedule it on the 28th. I'm okay with that, but just with the caveat that I probably won't be here for that one. And that's the other thing I want to talk about is I will probably miss, after the first June meeting, the next 3 or 4 meetings in a row. So Mr. Wells will have to, as the vice chair, will have to run those meetings. I think it'd probably be a good idea to set up, you know, have Mr. Wells be the, you know, acting chair for the time between, you know, I'll give you the dates or whatever for those meetings, so in case any meetings need to be called in the meantime. And we might want to have an acting vice chair as well, in case Mr. Wells doesn't show up, and then so we can have someone run the meeting, so.
I'll put it out there too.
Well, there's a chance, is it possible that you could, we're talking about adjusting the 21st to a different date? Is there a possibility of figuring your schedule out or somebody's, and maybe we have to change a day or something?
No, I won't, I'll be gone for a
Okay.
good month, unfortunately, so, between approximately June, end of June till early August, I won't be available at all, so. Would anybody like to volunteer to be acting vice chair for the time period that I'm gone?
I'll nominate Brian.
I'll accept the nomination.
I'll second that. All right, so,
But I'm just expecting Shane to show up. So.
right.
And I actually have to put it out there. I will be away the July 4th week. That Thursday, I'll be in Puerto Rico. So.
Okay. So, I mean, depending on what the agenda is too, guys, I mean, I won't be here, but if there's nothing going on and.
I'm not going to be here either, so.
That's right, you're not going to be here then either. I may miss your last meeting, I apologize.
I mean,
When's your last meeting? It's June 30th, is your last one? When's your last day?
My last day is the 29th of June, yes.
29th, okay. So I will probably miss your last day, I apologize for
Yeah,
that.
when is that? When is the meeting in July then? He just mentioned July 4th. When is that?
There's a meeting, we have a meeting scheduled for July 5th.
Oh,
Yeah,
maybe we can move that one back, but looking well in advance. So.
yep. Or if we have not a whole lot on our agenda, we could cancel it as well and just do it, 2 weeks later if there's nothing. I may still have to go in and sign manifests and paychecks probably. But, we can do that on your own time.
I'm sure we'd all be really upset about that.
Yeah.
Well, you'll be happy to know I'm planning some vacation time that week too, so it would be fine with me if you wanted to cancel.
Which week is that, the week of July 4th?
Yes.
would you have mentioned the last Thursday in June? If we cancel the one in July and we're kind of,
That's true, we're right on top of it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah,
then that cancel, but the next one or even that in July, because I would imagine that we'd be wanting to get almost somewhat of a final accounting from our business administrator.
right.
So we'd want to know what the heck happened at the end of June 30th for sure. So that's July, at least the one meeting in there is important.
Right, right. So how about this as a possibility then? We change our June 21st meeting to June 28th, right? And then,
Cancel July 5th.
either cancel July, we have, and in July, the meetings are the 5th and the 19th.
Keep
Right.
the 19th at least, and we'll
At
probably
least keep-
skip the 5th, that's a whole weekend, and plus there might be two of you away.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So we'll cancel the July 5th meeting for now. And then, so we'll have to, can you let Mr. Rooney know too, this is going to be his first meeting as superintendent, will be that June 19th. So we'll have plenty of time to prepare.
I'll let him know that his first meeting is canceled.
Hopefully it's not a harbinger of things to come. All right, so we'll do that. I'll make a motion that from the period of June 27th to August, let's say August 9th. All right, so I'm gonna make a motion that from June 27th to August 9th, that we nominate Shane to be acting chair for that period of time, and Mr. Winslow to be acting vice chair. Just to make it official, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and so when I'm gone, you guys will just have to plan the meetings. If you need a meeting, call one, right? And if you don't, cancel it, but.
So just so I'm clear on what I'm canceling and posting here.
Yes.
Canceling the June 21st meeting, adding a June 28 meeting, and canceling the July 5 meeting. Okay.
Yep, so everybody on board with that? Okay, so this is usually a boring part of our meeting, it got more interesting. All right, with that, is there any closing public comment?
Congratulations, Dave.
Can you step to the microphone, please? All right, any board member like to take this opportunity to address the board? No, I'd just like to reiterate Ms. Boudreaux's sentiment and say thank you. Thank you for stepping up, Dave, and it's definitely good to have you back. Okay. I do believe, I'm going to close public comment session. I do believe we have need for a short, non-public session.
Yes, I have a parent request that I need to handle in non-public, so that would be under C.
So I'll make a motion that we go into non-public under RSA 91, 3, Part 2C.
I'll second that.
We'll roll call in. Keith Morgan, yes. Mr. Winslow?
Yes.
Sandeman? Mr. Ruth?
Yes?
All right, we'll go into non-public. Are we going to